Despite being one of the top point producers on the Quebec Ramparts throughout his career in junior hockey, the 5'9" Jonathan Marchessault was never drafted by an NHL team. The Quebec native spent 4 full seasons proving himself at the American Hockey League level before finally getting an NHL roster spot with Tampa Bay. He'd then become a 30-goal scorer with the Florida Panthers, be left unprotected in the expansion draft in 2017, become one of the Vegas Golden Knights' best players, and eventually help them win the franchise's first Stanley Cup in 2023. This is the story of how an undrafted misfit became the NHL's playoff MVP. Although Marchessault was passed up on in the draft, his 40-goal, 95-point season in the Q, coupled with his league-leading 33 points in 18 playoff games, was enough for him to get signed to his first pro contract, a 2-way deal with the New York Rangers AHL affiliate, the Connecticut Whale. Despite being one of the youngest players on the Whale, Marchessault put up an impressive 24 goals and 64 points in 76 games as a rookie. This put him tied for first on the team in points and tied for 10th among all AHLers. After a strong first pro season, the Columbus Blue Jackets organization signed Marchessault to a 3-year, $2.775 million deal. He'd pick up right where he left off, playing for the Springfield Falcons in the 2012-13 season, playing 74 games with them, leading the team with 21 goals, 46 assists, and 67 points. His 67 points also happened to be tied for 5th among all AHL players. Marchessault would make his NHL debut for Columbus that same season, but stayed in the lineup for just 2 games. According to a Sportsnet article written by Ian McIntyre in 2018, Marchessault talks about how when Columbus initially signed him, they told him he'd either make the team out of camp or be one of the team's first call-ups. Neither of which happened during his time there. Despite doing all the right things and leading the Falcons in scoring, the Jackets never really gave him a chance, and he called that situation in Columbus, quote, one of the most frustrating things in my career, end quote. After playing another 56 games in the minors with Springfield, Marchessault was traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning in March of 2014, where he'd spend the rest of that season with the Syracuse Crunch. His first full season in the Tampa organization started out very similarly to the rest of his pro career to that point. He played 68 games for Syracuse, scoring 24 goals and 67 points, again leading his team, and this time finishing 4th among the AHL scoring leaders. He'd play in 2 NHL games for Tampa Bay, scoring his first NHL goal, but with the Lightning being one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference that year going all the way to the Stanley Cup final, Marchessault wasn't able to crack the lineup as a full-time player just yet. The next year, after having played in over 300 American Hockey League games, the now 24-year-old Jonathan Marchessault finally earned a spot in the Tampa Bay lineup. In 45 games with the team, he scored 7 goals and 18 points, but as the Lightning geared up for another long playoff run going all the way back to the conference final, Marchessault saw action in just 5 of the playoff games. Marchessault would hit free agency after the season, and on July 1st of 2016, signed a 2-year, $1.5 million contract with the Florida Panthers. And with the Panthers is where he'd finally get his first real opportunity to succeed at the NHL level. To start the season, Florida put Marchessault on the line with Alexander Barkov and Jaromir Jagr. In that season, he'd break out for 30 goals and 51 points, 30 goals which would lead all Panthers. But even coming off of a breakout season, with the Vegas expansion draft in the summer of 2017, Florida surprisingly left Marchessault unprotected to protect depth defenseman Mark Pysyk and Alex Petrovic. Marchessault would be selected by the Vegas Golden Knights and be a major part of the Golden Misfits team that shocked the hockey world, posting 51 wins in their inaugural season, and eventually make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final in 2018. Marchessault, along with William Karlsson and Riley Smith, formed one of the best lines in hockey, with Karlsson and Marchessault both finishing the year with 75-plus points, smashing their career highs. Marchessault finally found an NHL home with Vegas, and over the next 5 seasons became one of the team's most impactful players and leading scorers. The Knights came up just short of the Stanley Cup a few times over those seasons, but in the 2022-23 campaign, with the team finally healthy come playoff time, and with some excellent additions, they were ready for a long run yet again. In round 1 of the postseason, despite getting worked in game 1, Vegas took down the Winnipeg Jets in 5 games, and although Marchessault had just 2 assists in this series, he was saving his best stuff for when the team really needed him. In the second round against Edmonton, Marchessault scored 5 goals and 3 assists in the 6-game series, including a hat-trick in Game 6 on the road in Edmonton, to to help Vegas clinch the series. In the conference finals, the Golden Knights would face the Dallas Stars, and after going up 3-0 in the series, Vegas ended up taking it in 6 games. Marchessault scored another 4 goals in this series along with 3 assists, coming up big time for his team yet again, and setting up a Stanley Cup final against his former NHL team, the Florida Panthers. The Panthers, who had gone on a storybook run to the Cup final, finally ran out of steam against Vegas, losing 5-2 and then 7-2 in the first 2 games. Marchessault scored a big goal in Game 1, and then added 2 more in Game 2 to give Vegas the early stranglehold on the series. He added another goal and an assist in the Game 3 overtime loss to Florida, and Vegas would win the next 2, including a 9-3 drumming in Game 5, and Marchessault finished the series with 4 goals and 8 points in the 5 games. He finished the playoffs with a league-leading 13 goals, 10 of them coming at even strength, and also led all players in shots on goal and plus-minus throughout the playoffs, earning himself not only a Stanley Cup, but also Conn Smythe Trophy honors as the NHL's playoff MVP. He became the first undrafted player to win the award since Wayne Gretzky in 1988. I love Jonathan Marchessault's journey from the minor leagues to the pinnacle of the sport because it's a story of perseverance, putting in the hard work even when it goes unnoticed, and it's also a good lesson that sometimes even when you think you're ready for the big time, maybe that situation wasn't going to be right for you, and maybe the work you're putting in is preparing you for a bigger moment, one that maybe even you never thought you'd be in.